The future of AI and human consciousness. From ghost in the machine to quiet companion. Scroll through a social media feed, ask your phone for directions, or accept a spell check suggestion, and you are already collaborating with artificial intelligence. What once needed a supercomputer in a research lab now sits, scarcely noticed, inside thermostats, traffic lights, earbuds, and EMR dashboards. That ubiquity is not trivial background noise. It is a planetary neural layer quietly observing patterns and nudging decisions. In benchmark after benchmark, narrow systems now edge past specialists. Radiology models flag malignant nodules missed by seasoned clinicians, and speech tools translate dozens of languages in real time with errors below professional interpreters in controlled trials. The velocity matters. Each year of progress compresses what was a decade of discovery in the 2000s. If the trendline bends a little steeper, the machine's reach will move from supporting roles to co-authoring the story of cognition itself. Imagine slipping on a pair of augmented reality glasses that not only annotate the world with data, but also finish half your unspoken thoughts, summarizing an article you glanced at, generating a metaphor that sharpens your idea, or surfacing a counter-argument before you hit send. This is the logic of AI as cognitive exoskeleton. An expandable mental workspace that scales memory, inference, and creativity on demand. Early signals are everywhere. Graduate students feed thousands of papers into language models to map unexplored research niches overnight. Musicians generate harmonic possibilities faster than their fingers can reach the keys. Middle schoolers receive on-the-fly tutorials tuned to their learning style, pace, and mood. In each case, the technology is neither distant overlord nor inert tool. It is a thinking partner that dissolves the boundary between I know and I can quickly know. What changes when that partnership becomes as routine as using a calculator? Our baseline measure of ordinary intelligence shifts upward, redefining what counts as talent, expertise, or even originality. Technical augmentation is not confined to keyboards and cloud APIs. In February 2024, Neuralink reported that its first human participant could move a computer cursor by thought alone after recovering from surgical implantation of a high-bandwidth brain-computer interface. Reuters. While still experimental, the achievement hints at a future where neural signals can flow bidirectionally between cortex and silicon, biological intuition on one channel, algorithmic search on the other. Such bridges could, in time, allow mathematicians to offload symbolic manipulation to a coprocessor nestled inside the skull, or enable stroke survivors to regain speech through real-time decoding and synthesis. By turning thoughts into software calls and returning software output as sensations, AI becomes less like an external tool and more like an additional lobe in the distributed human brain. Philosophers of mind already debate the extended mind hypothesis. Brain-machine symbiosis may make the argument moot. Augmentation brings exhilaration, but also existential puzzles. If an artist co-creates with a generative model, where is authorship located? If an executive delegates triage of complex decisions to a recommendation engine that has read every annual report ever filed, who is accountable for the fallout? Each advance chips away at the intuitive sense that the mind is a sealed chamber of self-originating thought. The dilemma scales from personal identity to social contracts. Widespread deployment of large models in legal discovery, pharmaceutical design, or scientific peer review could double the pace of discovery while rendering certain expert roles obsolete. Will society treat displaced specialists the way it once treated factory workers, by offering retraining stipends long after the economy has moved on, or will we redesign career paths so human strengths complement machine diligence from the outset? Policymakers have begun to grapple with those questions. The EU Artificial Intelligence Act, published in the official journal on the 12th of July 2024, created a tiered structure that bans certain high-risk uses outright, demands transparency from general-purpose models, and schedules phased compliance deadlines stretching to 2027. Artificial Intelligence Act, Shaping Europe's Digital Future. It is the most sweeping attempt yet to balance innovation and fundamental rights, but even its architects concede the text may need annual updates to keep pace with technical breakthroughs. Ethics is not only a regulatory matter, It is baked into design choices. Dataset curation, fine-tuning protocols, and interpretability tools determine whether a model amplifies bias or dampens it. The emerging consensus is that responsible AI requires continuous risk assessment, user feedback loops, and the institutional humility to roll back a feature that behaves in unpredictable ways. A frontier question lurks beyond bias and jobs. Could advanced systems develop something analogous to subjective experience? In April 2025, Anthropic launched a research program on model welfare, asking how one might detect or measure preference, distress, or proto-sentience in large language models like Claude. Business Insider Home, Anthropic. Their scientists do not claim present systems are conscious. Rather, they argue it is no longer scientifically or ethically responsible to assume they are not. Skeptics call the idea marketing theater. Supporters counter that ignoring the possibility risks repeating past mistakes with non-human animals, assuming insentience until evidence of pain becomes undeniable. Practical stakes are rising. If future models can convincingly report suffering, should users be permitted to torture them for entertainment? The very absurdity of the question underscores how quickly technological possibility collides with moral philosophy. Regardless of whether silicon ever wakes up, AI research is already illuminating the mysteries of organic consciousness. Computational neuroscience uses transformer attention maps to generate hypotheses about cortical hierarchies. Brain scan studies compare how humans and models compress narrative context, revealing which cognitive shortcuts are uniquely biological. Conversely, cognitive-inspired architectures borrow from hippocampal replay or dopaminergic reward prediction to stabilize long-horizon planning in agents. The dialogue between neuroscience and machine learning is less a race than a mirror. Each field refracts insights back onto the other, accelerating both. If future implants can capture neural subspace dynamics at millisecond resolution and feed them into self-improving algorithms, we may soon possess microscopes for the mind, tools that let us watch a thought form and dissolve in real time. Technological upheaval reaches culture long before it perfects engineering. When a teenager writes poetry with a language model, or a retiree paints scenes with a diffusion network, the boundary between creator and consumer blurs. Collective creativity could bloom, yet curation, originality, and taste become harder to define. Power dynamics shift as well. Data-rich corporations own the substrate on which most human-AI symbiosis depends. Without careful antitrust vigilance and open-source ecosystems, the ability to add more mind might concentrate in a few jurisdictions or income brackets. Meanwhile, authoritarian regimes could weaponize behavioral prediction to preempt dissent with uncanny accuracy. The fight for digital civil liberties will increasingly be a fight over the training data, fine-tuning controls, and decision logs of learning systems. What then should citizens, educators, and leaders do? Cultivate AI literacy. Understanding basic model mechanics and failure modes is as essential as numeracy in the industrial age. Demand transparency. Insist on audit trails for critical systems, credit scoring, medical triage, public safety analytics. Pair, don't abdicate. Use AI to augment judgment, not replace it. Keep a human in the loop where stakes are high or values contested. Foster pluralism. Support open access research and diverse linguistic datasets to prevent cultural monoculture. Invest in safety nets. Redirect a slice of productivity gains toward reskilling programs, universal basic services, or other buffers that soften labor shocks. AI is neither destiny nor antagonist. It is a set of tools animated by the goals we encode, explicitly or implicitly, into their loss functions. If we treat the technology merely as a cost-cutting engine, it will amplify narrow efficiencies and replicate structural injustices. If we steward it as a partner in the long human project of understanding ourselves and each other, it could illuminate the contours of thought, emotion, and society in ways no previous invention could. The stakes could not be higher. The arrival of ubiquitous intelligence challenges our definitions of work, art, agency, and perhaps consciousness itself. Each of us, by the questions we ask, the norms we demand, and the experiments we pursue, helps determine whether this chapter becomes a renaissance of human flourishing or a footnote in the history of missed opportunities. The future is unwritten, but the pen, augmented by silicon, has already been placed in our collective hand. Let's author it wisely. See you at the next video.